On Tuesday afternoon, a 7.1 magnitude earthquake struck Japan's Kumamoto Prefecture. Because the epicenter was incredibly shallow, just 10 kilometers below the surface, the kinetic energy hit the ground with immediate, violent force. Within moments, the tremors derailed a cargo train, triggered multiple gas explosions, and collapsed the entire second floor of a local Aeon shopping mall, trapping multiple people inside the rubble. Even structures built to endure centuries took a hit. The walls of the historic Kumamoto Castle crumbled, shedding massive stones from its iconic moat framework. Months earlier, on New Year's Day, the Noto Peninsula faced similar devastation when a 7.6 magnitude earthquake flattened entire blocks and triggered fires that wiped out large sections of coastal towns. This is the baseline reality of daily life in Japan. The country records a tremor every 5 minutes and accounts for roughly 20% of all earthquakes on Earth measuring a magnitude of 6 or higher. A shallow 7.1 quake hitting almost any other country would likely yield a massive death toll. Yet in Kumamoto, the confirmed fatalities remain in the single digits, a result of Japan's position at the intersection of the world's most active tectonic boundaries. This visualization shows the Pacific Ring of Fire. It's a 40,000-kilometer horseshoe-shaped boundary wrapping around the Pacific Basin that holds 90% of the world's earthquakes and 75% of its active volcanoes. If we zoom in on Japan, you can see the country sits directly in the crosshairs of 4 major tectonic plates: the Pacific, the Philippine, the Eurasian, and the North American plates, all constantly grinding against each other. This specific intersection forms what geologists call a subduction zone. As you can see in this cross-section, the denser Pacific plate is actively being forced underneath the neighboring plates, submerging deep into the Earth's hot mantle. This process is not smooth. The massive slabs of rock lock together, and as the Pacific plate continues to push downward, intense friction generates extreme heat and pressure over decades. Japan is essentially built on top of a geological pressure cooker. Eventually, that rock snaps, and all that pent-up kinetic energy releases outward. This topographical map highlights a massive vulnerability right off the eastern coast. This dark, deep region is the Japan Trench. The subduction process has carved an 8.4-kilometer deep underwater chasm dangerously close to the shoreline. When a violent earthquake occurs inside this trench, the seabed physically snaps upward. This sudden movement displaces the massive volume of water above it, pushing the ocean into a towering wave heading straight for land. Because the trench is located so close to the coast, these tsunami waves can reach the shore in a matter of minutes, often long before early warning systems can fully evacuate the population. The most devastating example of this mechanism occurred in 2011. A magnitude 9.0 earthquake ruptured off the coast, sending a massive wall of water inland that ultimately claimed over 19,000 lives. The 2011 tsunami also overwhelmed the coastal defenses of the Fukushima Daiichi facility. The resulting structural damage triggered a total nuclear meltdown, leaking radiation across the Pacific. For residents along the coast, the violent shaking of the earth is terrifying on its own, but it serves as the warning bell for a far deadlier threat approaching from the ocean. To counter this permanent threat, the Japanese government forced the nation's architecture to undergo a rapid, highly regulated evolution, establishing some of the strictest building codes on the planet. The baseline Taishan standard mandates reinforced pillar thicknesses to resist horizontal shaking. For taller buildings, Saishin installs thick rubber mats to absorb kinetic energy. The Peak Mention standard physically decouples the building using base isolation, allowing the ground to shake while the structure remains still. These standards are applied at a massive scale with the Tokyo Skytree. At 634 meters tall, this structure has absorbed severe quakes without a scratch. Japanese engineering doesn't attempt to rigidly fight the Earth's energy. Instead, it designs structures capable of flexing and moving in harmony with the vibrations. To defend against the ocean, Japan has fortified roughly 40% of its entire coastline. They have constructed massive concrete seawalls spanning 22,000 miles, designed to block or severely slow down incoming waves. These physical barriers are supplemented by designated tsunami control forests, planted specifically to break the water's force, along with high-ground evacuation towers placed directly in high-risk zones. Technology is reinforced by societal conditioning. citizens undergo relentless, mandatory emergency evacuation drills starting from a very young age to ensure responses are instinctive. These compounding layers of preparation proved their worth during the recent 7.1 Kumamoto quake. Despite the violent shocks, the 3 nearby nuclear power plants reported 0 abnormalities, and operations continued. Japan will forever sit directly in the crosshairs of 4 restless tectonic plates. But through precise engineering and intense societal preparation, they have built a civilization that refuses to fall into the sea.